The film opens with a married couple, David and Amy, driving down a dark, empty road at night after leaving a family party. Suddenly, David swerves sharply to avoid a raccoon, jolting Amy awake. As they continue, she realizes they're on the wrong road. David explains they had to detour off the interstate because of an accident. From the start, it's clear their marriage is strained. They bicker over everything, and both seem irritated just being near each other. While arguing, Amy cuts an apple but accidentally slices her finger, leaving blood on it. They shrug it off, and David mentions the car engine sounds off, likely from the sudden swerve. With nothing they can do, they hope the car won't break down. Eventually, the engine starts failing, but they spot a rundown gas station. There, they argue over their location on a hand-drawn map before a gas station attendant suddenly appears at the window, startling them. David explains they're headed for Downey, but the man tells them they've been driving in the wrong direction. Downey is 30 miles back. He offers to check the car, and while the men look under the hood, Amy pulls out a photo of a young boy and breaks down in tears, revealing their marriage troubles stem from the death of their child. After fixing the car, the attendant refuses payment, gives them directions, and even hands Amy a lit sparkler before sending them on their way. But not long into the drive, the car completely dies, forcing them to stop in the middle of nowhere. As expected, their phone loses signal. With no choice left, they grab a flashlight and start walking a mile back toward the gas station. Along the way, they argue again when David brings up their late son, something Amy can't bear to hear. When they finally reach the gas station, it's completely deserted, so they head to the motel beside it. As soon as they enter, they hear a woman screaming in pain from somewhere in the building. Amy panics, but David rings the desk bell anyway. The manager casually appears, and when David mentions the screaming, the man slips into the back room. The screaming stops, and he returns holding a TV remote, claiming he was simply watching a movie. They ask about a mechanic, but the manager tells them nothing is open at this hour and suggests they stay the night. Amy is uneasy, but David decides to stay. The manager even offers them the honeymoon suite for the price of a regular room. After they leave, the manager returns to the back room, where the screams start up again. The couple enters their room, finding it filthy, dusty furniture, grimy counters, a cockroach, and murky water running from the sink. Despite this, they try to settle in and talk quietly about their failing marriage and how they've been hiding their impending divorce from their families. Suddenly, a strange phone call interrupts them, but no one speaks on the other end. Moments later, loud banging shakes the front door. When David checks, no one is there. The phone rings again, and this time the connecting door to the next room begins pounding. David bangs back, demanding to know what the person wants. When Amy panics, she closes the door. Immediately after, more banging erupts at the front door, enraging David. He tells Amy to lock the door and storms off to complain to the manager. The manager insists that no one else is staying at the motel tonight. He takes one of the guns displayed on the wall and promises to look into it, claiming college kids sometimes sneak into party. When David returns, Amy wants to leave, but he refuses because he's exhausted. To distract himself, he turns on the TV and plays a VHS tape sitting on top of it. At first, David assumes it's a low-budget horror film showing people being attacked and tortured. But then he notices the curtains and carpet in the video match the ones in their room. Amy realizes it too. Horrified, they understand that the footage was recorded right where they're sitting. David searches the room and discovers several hidden cameras, including one inside a vent. Suddenly, the lights flicker and bang violently as someone pounds on the doors. When the lights come back on, they attempt to escape through the bathroom window, but it's nailed shut. Worse, they find Amy's bloody apple sitting on the sink, even though she insists she left it in the car. Alarmed, David rips open the shower curtain, but no one is inside. Desperate, they plan to run across the parking lot into the woods, but two masked figures appear outside, blocking their escape and forcing them back into the room. As the masked attackers bang on the door, Amy tries prying the nails off the bathroom window, but one of the men suddenly appears. David bluffs, shouting that he has a gun. The attackers pause, buying them a moment. David quickly explains his plan. Amy will distract them while he sneaks to the payphone outside to call for help. Amy pretends to work on the window while David slips out and reaches the payphone. He dials 911, only to realize he's speaking to the motel manager. Before he can react, a car speeds toward him, chasing him back to the room. With no weapons, the couple smashes the bathroom mirror to arm themselves with glass shards. Unbeknownst to them, the motel manager is watching through yet another hidden camera, revealing he's orchestrated everything. Later, Amy wakes up and scolds David for letting her fall asleep, but he urges her to stay still. He knows they're being watched and listened to, and he wants their attackers to believe they aren't planning another escape. Meanwhile, David spends his time watching the remaining VHS tapes, hoping to learn more about the attackers. He becomes convinced that the girl's scream they heard earlier at the reception came from one of these tapes. From his observations, He concludes that the killers enjoy watching their victims suffer from the hidden cameras until they eventually get bored and step in. He also notices that, in every tape, the killers always enter through the bathroom, prompting him to search for a secret entrance. Soon, he discovers a hidden hatch in the floor. Right then, Amy alerts him that a truck is pulled up outside. They rush to the window and bang on it for help. But to their horror, the trucker is also part of the operation. He's only there to buy a box of torture tapes from the manager. As the masked figures approach the door, David and Amy retreat into the bathroom and jump down through the hidden hatch. They find themselves inside an underground tunnel and begin crawling through it. Along the way, they encounter a huge swarm of rats, but push forward. At the end of the tunnel, they emerge into a surveillance room filled with monitors showing various torture recordings and a door leading straight to the front desk. Before stepping out, Amy quickly calls 911 using the real phone. But before she can explain, the manager and a masked goon burst into the room, furious to see their next victims missing. They also discover the phone still connected to 911. Realizing the couple must be in the tunnel, the manager sends his men inside to hunt them down. Luckily, David and Amy manage to lose both assailants and escape through another hatch that leads into the gas station's auto shop. They block the hatch by pushing an entire shelf over it so no one can follow. At this moment, Amy breaks down, blaming herself for their child's death. David comforts her, insisting it was an accident and never her fault. After everything they've survived, he tells her he doesn't want to lose her and hopes they can start fresh once they get out. Their conversation is interrupted by a police car arriving outside. Afraid of exposing themselves too soon, they stay hidden and watch as the manager calmly greets the sheriff. The sheriff explains he's responding to a 911 call. Acting innocent, the manager allows him to look around, even letting him check the room where the couple stayed. Back in the auto shop, one of the masked attackers begins lifting the shelf blocking the hatch. David and Amy struggle to hold it down while trying to remain silent. Meanwhile, the sheriff notices light shining behind a door. He opens it and discovers the torture tapes and the setup, immediately realizing that something is terribly wrong. Terrified, the sheriff steps outside just as David and Amy see him preparing to leave. They rush toward him for help, but the police car won't start. The engine wires have been tampered with. As the sheriff checks under the hood, a masked man creeps up behind him and brutally stabs him to death. Panicking, the couple runs back into the motel and begins escaping through the connected rooms. David breaks a window, but it's too small for him to fit through. While the killers focus on hiding the police car, he forms another plan. He tears a piece of Amy's clothing and places it on the window to make it look like they escaped through it. In reality, Amy hides inside the ceiling while David plans to sneak into the lobby to grab a gun he saw earlier. Before he leaves, Amy closes the ceiling hatch. David tells her he loves her and quietly slips out. But the moment he steps forward, one of the masked men ambushes him and stabs him in the stomach. Amy, hiding above, struggles not to scream. Barely holding on, David crawls outside, only to find the manager filming his final moments. The manager then returns to the motel room to search for Amy, but luckily misses her hiding spot. Amy remains hidden in the ceiling until morning. When she finally climbs down, she walks straight into a masked attacker entering the room. She bolts out of there, running with all her strength. She jumps into a nearby car, starts it, and tries to escape. One of the attackers breaks through the sunroof, but Amy fights back, swerving and eventually ramming the other masked man outside. The car crashes into a motel room, but she survives thanks to the airbag. Both masked men die in the impact, one of them being the gas station attendant who earlier helped them. But the nightmare isn't over. The motel manager spots the bodies of his men and begins screaming in anguish before turning his rage toward Amy. She runs toward the surveillance room and blocks the hatch with a shelf. Armed with a hammer, she steps into the lobby, finds a gun, and reaches for it. But the manager sneaks up from behind and begins choking her. They fight violently on the floor, with the manager overpowering her at first. He drags her by the couch and starts filming her while screaming that he should have killed her last night. Amy violently kicks him in the groin, buying herself a moment. They wrestle again, but this time Amy manages to grab the gun and fires repeatedly until the manager collapses dead. Breathing heavily, she rushes outside to find David and is relieved to see he's still alive. She immediately calls 911 again, begging for help. The film ends with Amy sitting beside her injured husband, thankful they survived and ready to abandon their plans for divorce. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.